Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. We're on episode 5 of Skate the Infinity, and I'm not gonna lie, it is hard to not binge watch this show. I've wanted to just sit and binge the whole series and catch up, but no, I'm being good and watching one episode at a time. Even though it's hard. It's really hard. Because last episode, oh, it was the best one yet. And it was just, there was so much to talk about. That's the one thing about this show. We're on episode 5, so we're almost to the halfway point of the season. And when I started this show, the way that a lot of people talk, they're like, oh, it's just fun and it's colorful. It's just, fluffy and there's nothing, it's just a wholesome comfort anime. And I'm like, so far, there's been quite a bit to talk about, especially with the characters. Like the skating, the skateboarding, it's cool. It's a great prop. It's a great gimmick. It's a great addition to the atmosphere of the show. It adds to the aesthetic, the dope sketch shop, like all of that, the colors, the stickers, the vibe, like it all lends itself to creating this environment. But at the heart of it all are these characters. And oh my gosh. I talked about Adam a lot last episode, but I've been going back and watching the episode and reacting to it and then going back and rewatching it in the dub. The dub is good. Like, I really like the dub. Those of you that said watch the dub, thank you, because it's great. There's not really any giant, there's no Chris Sabat or Johnny Bosch or any of those, like, those English voice actors. And I kind of like the show for that because it's not distracting. I can just watch the episode and enjoy it. And the voice acting is great. They're wonderful. And the voice actor for Adam, I was afraid that the English dub wouldn't be able to find someone that could portray that level of creepiness that Adam has. But they did. Like someone that can come across as a businessman and be suave and professional, but also have the air of just creepy vibe to him. And it's not the same voice actor as Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter, obviously, but it still portrays that vibe. But what I wanted to say was that when I went back and watched the episode in English, I noticed that Adam's character started out this series in episode 1 saying that to him, happiness was respect. And that's what Adam wanted, was to be respected. And so in the last episode, when he's talking to his aunts, he tries to talk himself up. He's like, oh, I was the youngest delegate to speak to the environmental committee. Isn't that great? And they're like, okay, well, don't get too envious. It's like they're not fully respecting him. They're still treating him kind of like a child, even though he's clearly an adult man. And it's kind of weird. Also, I get such like Victorian vibes from this show, especially in Adam's like realm. It looks like a Victorian household. It's like very 1800s old fashioned looking, even though they're not obviously European or Victorian. But for some reason, going back and watching it in English, the relationship between the black haired man and Adam, I don't know what it is, but if you've ever watched Bleach, it reminds me a little bit of Ryukin and Katagiri. If you've watched Bleach, this is in the manga. It's not been animated yet. It's going to be next year probably. But Ryukin, which is Uryu Ishida's father, he has a servant that works for him, and her name is Katagiri, and she's like a maid. But she's been entrusted with watching Ryukin's character. Like Ryukin, she's been charged to like follow him around and like set stuff up for him and help him. And when they go on missions, she is always there by his side. And for some reason, this black-haired guy reminds me exactly of Katagiri. And in the manga, Ryukin doesn't immediately notice that she likes him at first. He has a crush on someone else, and he completely ignores her. And by the end of Bleach, he's realized that she's loved him all along, and that she's been by his side all along, and that she's the person for him. And I just get those vibes from this black-haired guy. I know nothing about him, but I just get those vibes when I rewatched it in English, and just seeing him like set everything up for Adam and follow him around. Even though Adam calls him a freaking dog, and I hate it, that's all I could think about. I was like, is there going to be 3 pairings in this series? Are we getting a triple love story? Because I want this. But yes, so Reki got wrecked. He got wrecked indeed. and I'm concerned because rewatching the episode, there was like blood streaming down his face, and I'm like, boy needs to go to a hospital. Adam, you can race Langa later. You got some kind of meeting in the morning anyway. Race him whenever, but Reki needs help. So I don't know what to expect with this episode, guys. Passionate dancing night. I don't know. But I'm kind of obsessed with this show now. So here we are. So yeah, I hope I hope my hype exudes onto you because I get so hyped on this show now. And like I said, it's doing all I can not to binge it, but I won't. So with that being said, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoy the reaction, and we are going to start episode 5 of Skate the Infinity, Passionate Dancing Night, whatever that means, here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. What you say? What you say? That episode, I don't know what to tell y'all. Every episode's gotten better and better. I mean, the first episode's really good, and the second episode adds this wholesome, beautiful friendship, and then the third episode builds off that, and the fourth, and now the fifth. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Adam, creepy Hisoka vibed Adam. Man, I know I've told y'all that I've been comparing Adam to Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter, but guys, it's the same vibe. It's so the same vibe. Hisoka having this creepy weird thing for Gon, and it's a competitive thing. It's a competitive thing. Like, I need someone who can skate as good as me, who completes me, who can skate as good as I can. I need that challenge. And no one's given him that challenge. Because in the last episode, Mia and Shadow noted, and Joe noted, I think it was Joe, actually, that said it, but Joe noted that he skated all of his favorites, and they all let him down, and they all couldn't measure up. And the creepy implication is that Reki's friend, who we saw with the big bangs in the last episode, was one of Adam's favorites that raced him and just didn't cut it and was seriously injured and quit skating. And that's what Reki doesn't want to happen. He doesn't want Langa to stop skating. He doesn't want Langa, because he's built this friendship around skating with Langa, and he doesn't want that to end. And he's like, I don't want you to get hurt. And clearly Reki cares about Langa, and he's like, I really don't want you to get injured because I don't want it to be my fault, because it would have been my fault if you got hurt. And I like the shop owner, when that comes out, it's not just about him not facing Adam, it's that Reki doesn't want his friend to get hurt and it be because of him. Then the shop owner's kind of like, okay, you kind of like this kid, I'll help you out. And it doesn't work, but you know. And I love that this is like, it's like Sailor Moon and Fight Club, right? This whole series is like Fight Club meets Sailor Moon meets skateboarding, because they all have these secret personas, even though they're obviously the people that have the personas. Like, I love how in the last episode, Shadow's like, you don't know it's me. You can't know it's me. And they're like, we're pretty sure you look exactly the same with or without makeup. So it's like, and Mia's like, I'm not even trying to hide my persona. It's me. It's my name. But I like how Cherry Blossom's like, I don't go by Cherry. We don't talk about things outside of the S. And it's like, okay, you're like the only pink-haired guy running around here. I love it. It's so 90s. It's so wonderful. But gosh, yeah, this episode cements that one black-haired man loves Adam, likes Adam quite a bit. I'm fully convinced he called the cops to break up the whole scenario because it was getting out of hand, and he was like, we're not having this. I'm fully convinced it was him that broke up the affair, that broke up the date. How creepy and disgusting. But here's the thing. The whole Adam and Eve thing, like he's been looking for his Eve. Langa's 17 and you're in your 20s. That's not right. No. Ew. Man, the roses, the whole shebang. But here's the thing, Langa, I don't think Langa doesn't like Adam at all. But what we've established since episode 1 is that Langa is competitive. He loves a challenge, and he is similar to Adam in the fact that Adam wants to find a challenge. He wants to skate against really good people, and he's been disappointed because nobody measures up to his expectations or his standards. And I feel like Longa's kind of the same way. Langa has, since episode 1, Langa has been going through skating against these skaters. He skated against Shadow, he skated against Mia. He's been going through these competitive people to skate against, and he's just feeding off of it. He is similar to Adam in that he is competitive and wants to be really good at skating. And I'm assuming that in snowboarding he was the same way. He was competitive, and then his father passed away, and that kind of drained his enthusiasm for it. But now he's back to, I've figured out skateboarding, I'm getting good at it. He has a natural inborn talent for it, and he wants to face someone competitive. So I think it reminded me of Run with the Wind, when the black and like all the neon colors, I'm like, this is very Run with the Wind at this moment. If they show me Adam without clothes on, I'm going to freak out. But they showed a lot of butt shots of him in this episode. I was like, if Adam wasn't so creepy, I wouldn't mind, but he's creepy, so I do mind. But I think and his heart was racing. I think what Longo was realizing is, oh, this is an actual challenge. This is actual competition. And that moment when they were spinning around and Langa, the animation made Langa look so freaked out and terrified for a moment. But then the animation made him be like, no, I'm going to take control of the situation. You're not going to control how I skate. And for the first time, Adam experienced someone that could rival him in being dominant. And so, but here's the thing, guys. You're setting up pain, aren't you? You are. You see, you are. You are. You know how I know this, guys? Because at the end of this episode, when Reki's like, I was really worried about you, Reki's like, Adam's not good news. He's dangerous. I don't want you to be around him. The moment he said that, I was like, oh, Reki, we're going to go the angsty pain route, aren't we? Because here's the thing. We just established 5 minutes prior, and what I've just talked about is that Langa's figured out that Adam's a challenge. And his competitive mode, Langa's like, because Langa has not turned down a challenge. He gets the sparkles all around him. He gets super excited whenever somebody's like skating against me. He's like, yes, I'll do it. And Reki's like, you didn't even think about it. Langa's gonna want to skate against Adam because he wants to beat him properly. Like, they didn't get a chance to finish their race, so he wants to race Adam and finish it. Makes sense. And Reki telling him no. Which I get why Reki doesn't want him to skate against him, because it is dangerous and Reki doesn't want him to get hurt. But in the same vein, I also feel like Reki maybe is a little bit jealous of Adam, because he was jealous that he accepted the flowers. And I feel like he's afraid that Langa will, one, become injured, that he won't skate. Even though Langa says that's not going to happen, Reki's still probably going to be worried about it. But two, that Reki's worried that Adam will take Langa away from him. And that they're best friends. And he's like, Adam could give you a big contract as a skateboarder and do the same thing to you like he's done with Mia. And then you won't be able to skate with me anymore. And it'll be like Mia and his friends. And I know Reki's probably worried about that. And he's jealous. And he's nervous and scared of all these things happening. And Langa isn't able to see that. Langa's just seeing, oh, well, I get you don't want me to get hurt. But in the back of my head, I kind of want to skate against him and win. So it's like, I should have known that this show has been building up this amazingly wholesome, beautiful friendship and relationship with Reki and Langa. And with this episode, I'm like, oh, okay, Adam's going to mess it all up. And the black-haired guy is going to try to keep that from happening, but I just... And him calling him like doing what your master wants. It's like, I get that they kind of... I said glorified secretary last episode. It's really more kind of like a master-servant sort of thing. And I'm like, that's kind of outdated and creepy too. But the guy clearly likes you, Adam. I'm like, ugh. This episode, man, the Sailor Moon. I wore Sailor Pluto specifically because I was like, yeah, I felt the Sailor Moon vibes way back in episode 2. and I'm like, I want to keep up the 90s trend. And the whole rose throwing was very Tuxedo Mask, and just props to the voice actor for Adam, because I mean, if you can be that creepy and gross in that scene, I'm really nervous to watch this in the English dub, because he's like sitting there, I wondered if Adam took ballet as a kid, because he has lots of ballet moves, and it's very matador, it's very like the flamenco, very, the dancing of love and all that. I wonder if we'll get any flashbacks to that, perhaps. But again, what else was going to comment on? On Twitter they call it Matcha Blossom. Cherry and Joe. I've seen lots of Matcha Blossom tags on Twitter, and I've been avoiding spoilers, so I scroll past it unless it's something that looks really generic. But so like somebody had 2 pictures of Pocky boxes, and one Pocky was strawberry and one Pocky was matcha, and it was like Matcha Blossom, and it's like, oh yay. But those guys too. Come on now, like. I like that Cherry, to have a group meet, took them to Joe's restaurant, just walked in like he owned the place, and was like, hey, we're chilling out, having food. And I like how Shadow was like, oh, get us 4 bowls of ramen. And Joe's like, this is an Italian restaurant. So we just had noodles instead. But I like that Cherry just instantly walks in, and the moment where he like skateboards really close to Joe, and he's like, oh, too close. And Joe's like, It's like, who are you guys fooling? So, I just want these 3 pairs. I just want Reki and Langa. I just want Joe and Cherry. And I want this black-haired guy to grow a set of balls and tell Adam off, because he clearly likes him. And Adam, stick with somebody your own age. This woman's in the next episode, and I'm curious who the world she is. And Adam looked like he was annoying her by, like, flirting with her. So I'm like, who are you? And what are you doing? Interesting. But I'm so curious, guys. And next episode's the halfway point. The halfway point. And it's a beach episode? Okay. Why not? Why not? Distract us, show. Distract us from this obvious angst that's coming. Go ahead. I'll wait. But, oh, you guys, I loved this episode. The animation was so good. Langa's facial expressions, his emotions, and just him. Langa reminds me a lot of Fushiguro, too, from Jujutsu Kaisen, which I'm watching at the same time. And he reminds me a lot of Fushiguro, because Fushiguro, on the surface, is very calm, very collected. But then when he lets loose, he's kind of maniacal and feral. And it's kind of awesome. And this episode, we saw Langa kind of go a little feral, and it was kind of awesome. I'm like, okay, Langa, that's cool. You can be competitive and have that moment. Just don't go full Adam. Do not go full Adam. And I don't think he will, because I think what Adam's assuming creepily as love, and that it's, him finding his Eve in love, Langa is interpreting it, Adam's interpreting it as a love of a person and their skateboarding skills. Langa is just interpreting it as the love of a challenge and competition, and someone that's as good of a skater as he wants to be. And I get that, and it makes a lot of sense, but at the same time, I'm like, be careful, because I can see Adam just wanting to swoop in and take Langa away, and Reki being like, but we're besties. That can't happen. So, don't spoil me, please. That was such a weird, whiny voice. Please don't spoil me. But, yeah, please no spoilers. I know y'all are probably sitting there going, you have no clue. I don't. But this episode was so good, but I'm so worried. But it's a beach episode next week, so what could go wrong? So, in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week with episode 6 of Skate the Infinity. Bye.